At exactly 3 o'clock a.m. local time on August 29, 2025, the Russian S-400 Triumph air defense system in Dzhankoi began its new duty cycle. The 91N6E radar spun its deadly rotations, emitting pulses of electromagnetic waves that cut through the Crimean night sky. The entire crew believed they were manning one of the most formidable air defense rings in the world, completely unaware that their $500 million radar station's remaining lifespan was now measured in minutes. From deep within a forest east of Mykolaiv, nearly 155 miles from Dzhankoi, a camouflaged Kamaz truck extended its hydraulic hatch under thick foliage. Inside was a weapon never used before, a Flamingo cruise missile, an ultra-low-flying dagger designed to be nearly invisible to ground-based radar. With a range of up to 185 miles and a warhead weighing over 220 pounds, Flamingo was built to punch through command posts, ammunition depots, and radar systems deep inside enemy territory. Its destination? The 91N6E radar from an S-400 battery southeast of Dzhankoi, responsible for coordinating fire control across 3 S-400 systems protecting the skies over Crimea. The system's estimated value approached $500 million, but far more important was its strategic role. The 91N6E was the eye in the sky for all northern Crimean airspace, capable of detecting targets out to 370 miles, tracking 300 objects simultaneously, and guiding up to 80 surface-to-air missiles at once. But how do you pinpoint one specific radar installation among dozens scattered across Crimea? Beneath the lightweight composite shell, a cold onboard processor continuously scanned the electromagnetic spectrum, searching for one telltale sign: the C-band pulse of the 91N6E gravestone radar. At exactly 3:07 a.m., the operator's screen flashed. A sharp signal wave appeared. C-band active, continuous pulse. The operator immediately marked a hotspot 8 miles southeast of Dzhankoi, tucked between 2 low shrub clusters, an exact match with satellite reconnaissance images captured a week earlier. Target confirmed. The 91N6E radar was transmitting at full range. Immediately at the hidden position near Mykolaiv, the Flamingo strike team leader gripped his headset and gave a firm command: begin target lock sequence. Flamingo was ready, awaiting only the launch command. But tonight, it wouldn't fly alone. Once launched, Flamingo would need 11 minutes to reach the target, more than enough time for enemy radar to detect and intercept it if not distracted. It needed a shield, a decoy, and sacrificial bait, and Ukraine had planned for exactly that. Earlier at 2:59 a.m. and 50 seconds on the Kherson front line, a Ram-2 decoy UAV had silently launched from a mobile rotating launcher. The drone maintained an altitude of 6,560 feet, cruising along Crimea's western coastline like a civilian aircraft until it suddenly veered 70 degrees, diving straight toward northern Dzhankoi, the exact location of the S-400 radar post. Its radar signature was bright, flight path deliberately obvious, all designed to attract the attention of the 91N6E radar crew, to make them believe that this was the real Ukrainian cruise missile threat. At 3:10 a.m. and 50 seconds, the launch order was transmitted. A short beep sounded. The hydraulic lift pushed the 20-foot missile smoothly out of its launch cradle, tilting it to a 30-degree angle, the optimal trajectory for low-altitude cruise. Mere seconds later, Flamingo detached. No roar, just a thin, cold trail of smoke twisting southward across the darkness toward Crimea. One of the boldest precision strikes of 2025 had just begun. Meanwhile, in the skies west of Crimea, the Ram-2 decoy completed its final turn. Now just 25 miles from the radar site, it entered Russia's air defense coverage zone. As expected, it was picked up by a Pantsir S-1 system, which switched to target lock mode. 17 seconds later, a 57E6 interceptor missile launched, pursuing and destroying the Ram-2 in mid-air. But the mission was already a success. Every radar signal, lock-on frequency, reaction time, and firing vector was extracted, encrypted, and transmitted back to command. That data was immediately uploaded into Flamingo's digital guidance map. At exactly 3:13 a.m., GPS signals were interrupted for the first time. Within just 12 seconds, satellite navigation was completely jammed by interference stations from the Crimean Peninsula. Distorted frequency waves flooded the control screen. But this had all been anticipated. Flamingo immediately switched to inertial navigation system mode, relying on fiber optic gyroscopes and terrain matching algorithms, maintaining positional accuracy within 100 feet. At the same time, it activated its frequency hopping protocol, continuously switching return signal probing modes to evade passive radar detection and mislead active air defense systems. On the ground, Russian passive radar teams began spectrum scans, but each electromagnetic reflection from Flamingo existed for less than 0.5 seconds. For several minutes, Russia's radar and air defense networks were thrown into disarray. No one could identify the target. More importantly, no one dared to fire. On the Ukrainian command screen, blinking waves faded one by one. Flamingo had cleared the first kill zone. Ahead of it, less than 15 miles away, lay the active zone of at least two S-300 PMU batteries, one stationed near northern Armyansk, the other covering the southern shore of Lake Sievashish. Together, they formed the medium-range tier of Russia's multi-layered defense in northern Crimea. At the moment, the 30N6E fire control radars for the S-300 PMU systems were in standby track mode, conserving energy by remaining passive. Instead, the 36D6 search radar handled early detection. Only if a target appeared would the 30N6E be activated for target acquisition and missile guidance. However, by combining ultra-low altitude, weaving trajectory, and active jamming countermeasures, Flamingo fully exploited this blind spot, slipping past the S-300's engagement envelope without leaving any clear radar return. At 3:17 a.m. and 20 seconds, Flamingo had traveled more than 105 miles, but ahead stood the densest interference wall yet, the outer zone of the Kalanchak farmland area, where Ukrainian intelligence had located at least one mobile RB-341V Lear-3 jamming truck and a GPS suppression system. With satellite navigation already compromised and electronic warfare intensifying, how would the missile navigate this final deadly stretch? The moment satellite signal strength dropped below -130 dBm, Flamingo automatically severed GPS connection, locked into digitized terrain mode, and shifted entirely into INS combined with auto-terrain recognition, an onboard algorithm using integrated mini-radar altimeter for terrain mapping. For the next 30 seconds, Flamingo hugged the farm terrain, skimming crop rows, tracing irrigation ditches and stream beds, dodging all greenhouses, residential zones, or large metal storage sheds. These objects, though inanimate, posed lethal reflection angles that could expose it to ground radar or thermal optical sensors on board Russian drones. At 3:18 a.m. and 12 seconds, at the Russian Air Defense Command Center in Dzhankoi, a weak interference signal flickered to the southwest. An alert sounded, but the blip vanished after 2 seconds, too brief to generate a tracking line. That night's weather brought low fog and high humidity, scattering radar signals, ideal conditions for low-flying cruise missiles. On the Ukrainian side, the Beaver drone team continued scanning for any change in the 91N6E radar's pulse frequency, but everything remained silent. No one in the Russian command knew the missile was now less than 30 miles from them. At 3:20 a.m. and 45 seconds, Flamingo entered the final phase of its mission, the most densely defended zone around Dzhankoi, where Russian radars, Pantsir systems, and reconnaissance UAVs converged. Up ahead lay a single-layered defense belt, one Pantsir S-1 battery stationed along a drainage canal, an EVO-M early warning radar site 4.5 miles away, and finally, the 91N6E fire control radar, the heart of the S-400 system, tonight's ultimate target. The missile dropped altitude to just 100 feet, hugging a narrow water channel. It shut down its onboard radar completely, entering full stealth mode. Only its INS system, driven by fiber optic gyros and preloaded 3D terrain maps, maintained its trajectory. From here on, there would be no human intervention. Either Flamingo completed its mission, or it would be destroyed deep behind enemy lines. At 3:21 a.m. and 35 seconds, on the Ukrainian reconnaissance UAV's infrared feed, the 91N6E radar suddenly switched to full track mode, indicating it had just detected a suspicious target from the southwest. Flamingo was now just 3.5 miles from impact. After 11 minutes of perfect stealth, had the mission been compromised at the final moment? It wouldn't matter, as it was already too late. No air defense system had time to respond. The Pantsir battery had already fired its lone interceptor at the decoy UAV 15 minutes earlier. The S-300 radars were angled skyward, unable to dip into ultra-low altitudes. The 9-1 and 6E had only just picked up the return echo, far too late to relay coordinates to the 5P-85T2 launch vehicle. At 3:21 a.m. and 49 seconds, Flamingo accelerated. Its turbojet engine surged to full thrust, pushing its speed to over 530 miles per hour, tearing across farmland. 2 seconds later, a blinding fireball erupted over the Dzhankoi night. The white flash lingered nearly 3 seconds before a rising mushroom cloud curled skyward. A deafening blast shattered the darkness, its shockwave echoing across a 6.2-mile radius. The concussive wave shattered windows in dozens of homes nearby. Reconnaissance drones captured the aftermath. The 9-1 and 6E radar vehicle obliterated, its antenna mast collapsed, flames spreading to the command unit and power generator truck. There was no return fire, no response from any remaining missile systems. Just 3 minutes after the explosion, NATO infrared sensors passing over the Crimean peninsula registered an anomalous heat plume. Satellite analysis confirmed thermal spike reached 1,100 degrees Celsius, 2,012 degrees Fahrenheit, lasting over 14 minutes. Burn radius extended 75 feet, with 2 hotspots flaring above 20 feet high, consistent with diesel fuel and microelectronic combustion. No counter-battery or interceptor launches were observed. To Western defense analysts, there was only one conclusion: Russia's 9-1 and 6E radar had been eliminated completely. Estimated at $110 million, this radar was the crown jewel of the $500 million S-400 Triumph battery deployed to protect Crimea since 2017. The 9-1 and 6E coordinated tracking and target data for Pantsir S-1, S-300 PMU-2, Buk M2, and the Central Crimea Electronic Warfare Network. With this radar neutralized, Central Crimea, from Perekop to Krasnovardiski, was plunged into a temporary radar blind zone stretching 93 miles from north to south. Key targets such as Dzhankoi Air Base, home to Ka-52 attack helicopters, Kalenchak Fuel Depot, and Iskander-M artillery staging areas temporarily lost their long-range warning coverage. This operation was a case study in modern asymmetric warfare. A reconnaissance drone costing approximately $15,000, a decoy UAV under $10,000, and a domestically built cruise missile estimated at under $300,000 had destroyed a $500 million air defense system. The entire operation took less than 30 minutes, incurred no personnel losses, required no deep airspace penetration, and successfully evaded Russia's entire air defense network. From this moment on, every S-400 radar site must face one haunting question: is there another Flamingo watching us just 11 minutes away? If you enjoyed this video and would love to do a deep dive into videos like this, check out our video of a Ukrainian drone attack on a Russian railway. Link in the description below.